Hi guys, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. I was chilling by the ocean of infinity, looking into the horizon, sipping margarita, and thinking about love, life, and leisure. And suddenly, I was attacked by a group of terrorists. I, with the help of the ninjas falling from the sky, were trying to save me from those terrorists. My alarm clock rang, and I immediately woke up. I wrote down this on a piece of paper. This was a snippet of one of my dreams. I wondered to myself, why are dreams so random and weird? But I was struck with another basic question. What are dreams anyway? Good evening, confused, perplexed, intrigued Toastmasters and my dear friends. Dreams are a series of thoughts, visions, and feelings. A group of researchers at the University of Chicago identified a weird electrical activity during certain stages of the brain. They named it the rapid eye movement stage. Why that name? Because your eyeballs are moving rapidly underneath your eyelids during that stage. It occurs in the intervals of 1.5 to 2 hours. You enter the REM sleep about 90 minutes after you have fallen asleep. Most dreaming occurs during this stage. According to the National Sleep Foundation, we dream for about 2 hours. During a typical lifetime, people spend an average of 6 years dreaming. A survey that I conducted showed that most people, about 75% of the people, believed that they dreamt for less than 1 hour. Why so? Because according to researchers, most people forget their dreams. Which brings us to the next question. Does everybody dream? Hey, I dreamt of a snake biting me last night. I don't even dream. Dude, everybody dreams. It's just that you don't remember your dream. Don't we all agree? Even the scientists and the researchers do. Most people forget 80 to 90% of their dreams. This was supported by the survey that I conducted. A mere of 2.6% of people remembered their dreams vividly. This is because the two memory retainers, acetylcholine and non-adrenaline, falls dramatically while you're asleep. Then why do certain people remember their dreams more vividly than others? Remembering becomes easier if you're a light sleeper and if you wake up more often during your REM sleep when most of the dreaming happens. Even the jolt of an alarm clock can shift your dream from a fantasy one to a nagging reality. Which brings us back to the first question. Why are dreams so random, weird, and shambolic? You will be shocked to know that the buzzing activity of the brain while you're asleep is the same as to when you're awake. The conscious part of the brain is busy organizing memories. The cortex, which is responsible for logic and reasoning, receives these impulses. It tries its best to make a cohesive story, creating a dream. These associations are not in any logic or linear way, and hence our dreams are random and weird. Well, what is the purpose of dreaming? Why do we dream? Scientists and researchers haven't found a definite answers for them, but we have some interesting theories. We dream to rehearse. Remember the ninja and I were fighting off the terrorists? Well, threatening and negative dreams are very common. They instill in us a fear of anxiety and insecurity. Amygdala, the survival instinct of a brain, is very active during the night. Hence, the next time when you're having a dream full of anxiety of someone chasing you, remember the brain is just preparing you to fight such a threat in real life. It prepares you for a fight or a fight training. These are certain inferences from the survey that I conducted. The first chart shows that about 51.7% of the people wanted a sleep with dreams. And out of those, majority of the person of people, about 67% of people had positive dreams. But for a fact, negative dreams are more common. The second chart shows that about 23.3% people believe that सुबह का सपना सच होता है. That means every morning dream that you dream comes true. But there hasn't been any definite theory on it. Only astrologers, not scientists or researchers, believe that a dream might come true between 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Well, if you have a dream journal, only then will you be able to validate this theory. We also dream to solve problems. You may have awakened at night with a eureka moment, or you would have gotten up with an idea in the head, a solution to a problem that you have been trying to solve for a long time. Because our dreams acts as our muse. It enhances our creative tendencies. Why? Because you're unconstrained by rules, you're unconstrained by logic, and your mind has limitless scenarios to grasp a problem and formulate solutions easily. They say that we dream to create history. Larry Page was struck with a vision in the middle of the night, and that vision is now Google. August Kukin dissolved the benzene molecule in his dream. Dmitry Mendeleev saw a vision of a table with all the elements falling into place. On awakening, he wrote it down on a piece of paper, and that discovery is now called the periodic table of elements. That is why sometimes they say the best solution for a problem is to just sleep on it. But there's one recurring dream that all of us have right now. And that is, I wish that somebody gets struck with an idea in the head to solve this problem. Well, we have structures in the outer universe about which we know completely when they were formed, how they were made, and everything. But last night I had a dream, and nobody really knows why and for what reason. Isn't it cool? It is a mystery unsolved. Thank you.
Well, that was a really wonderful speech, and now I know the reason behind my horror dreams. So moving on, since the Homo sapiens are behind their homes, this symbolic year has been wonderful in respect of wildlife. The wildlife is free to move without any hindrance, and from their perspective, this year is a year to cherish. You can see from these pictures, the wildlife is going to those places where earlier occupied by humans. As you can see, peacocks on the streets, the sheep on the streets, and monkeys on the roads, and the seal in front of a shop. These things never happened when humans were there. You can see how a deer is walking on someone's lawn. So from their perspective, from the perspective of the wildlife and the nature, this year has been wonderful. And the coronavirus is a blessing for them. Like, they are free to move. Moving on to the second speaker, he is mentored by Toastmaster Shaurya Roy. And before coming to the speaker, let me call upon his evaluator Toastmaster Vishesh Mehra to read out his speech objectives. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. The purpose of this project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. Timer, please note, the time is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to the speaker. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Well, the first speaker is delivering his first project from the level 2, and when I asked about his views on 2020, He gave me a long letter, so I have to read it out. He said the year 2020 is inspired from the great visionary Abdul Kalam, who wrote the book India 2020. Possible that could be the reason today's citizens of our country are inspired to fight against this pandemic. Well, not even the Abdul Kalam has imagined that 2020 would have been such a great year, and like we are facing now. Now, let's move without any delay. Let's call upon the second speaker, Toastmaster Rishi Prasunka, Live 2.0. Live 2.0, Toastmaster Rishi Prasunka. Over to you.
Good evening. Am I audible? Sumit, Toastmaster Sumit,
Yes,
am I
you are.
audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Why is the year 1983 so famous for? Not only India won the World Cup, but my parents got married and settled in Kolkata. First few years of my parents' life were difficult, and because they had to stay in a rented house. My parents faced financial challenges, and there were occasions they had to sleep on floor. However, my dad's hard work paid off, and in the year 1994, he bought his own 3 BHK flat. Our entire environment of the building and society was so soaking that we enjoyed so much. We had Marwaris, Gujaratis, and Bengalis in the society. We cherished and celebrated all the festival together. We invited our neighbors for my birthday celebrations, anniversaries, all together. All was going so well. However, in the year 2008, what happened? A sudden change arrived in our lives. My dad's sudden decision to move home from a 3 BHK flat to a standalone house in Salt Lake changed our lives forever. Yes, it did change our life forever. I still remember the first day in our life in our new house. I could not see souls moving around in the streets. What I could only hear were dogs barking. Where have I come? That marked the beginning of my isolation. Living in Salt Lake is just like the feeling of watching Conjuring alone in an empty theater. That epitome of joy, belongingness, togetherness was all gone. My dear friends, I've been harping about staying in Lake Town, the 3 BHK flat and Salt Lake. During this time, beg your pardon, in 2016, I got married and settled in Salt Lake. What happened is my dad purchased another 3 BHK flat in another closed apartment. We stayed in 1 year in this Salt Lake house. Here, another challenge arrived. My dad could not decide whether to stay here or move home. He was peacefully retired in his house and was not willing to move out of his comfort zone. However, I wanted to change. I decided that this is not the way we used to live. This was not the way we used to experience the environment. I wanted to bring back the same experience that we had from 94 to 2008. Hence, I took the lead. What I did was, I went and spoke to my dad and mom. I made them feel nostalgic about the experience that we had from 1994 to 2008, the celebrations, the enjoyment, that peak moments that we had in those period. They felt nostalgic and then they somehow agreed. My wife was initially reluctant. However, in the larger interest of the family, she too agreed. She was more emotional because she had initially spent 1 year of her married life in Salt Lake and she was more attached to that house. Hence, after a comprehensive feedback, I decided that we are moving home. My dream came true. I could see souls moving around in the society. I could see students, children playing in the grounds. I could see a beautiful temple and much more. We had celebrations throughout the year, 365 days round the clock, and lot many people to meet for. On the occasions of Diwali, festivals like Holi, Durga Puja, we got personal invitations from all the residents of our association. My dad being a chartered accountant, And our apartment has got more than 100 chartered accountants, and he couldn't have asked for more. My mom, who was living a solitary life in Salt Lake, started mingling with ladies of her community and started participating in the apartment activities. My wife, who was initially reluctant to shift, but she too started making friends here and started participating in functional activities. My dear friends, for us, it was life 2.0. That one decision changed our lives. What did I get? I got the satisfaction that I could make changes in my lives, in the lives of my family members. When I get up early in the morning, I see three smiling faces. I'm on top of the world. That is the epitome of joy that I get. What did I get? Although I did not make friends here, but I got the satisfaction, as I said, when I see them happy. Even in the during this hour of crisis, our happiness is so contagious that we stand shoulder to shoulder together and fight it out and pray to Almighty that help us to fight it out this calamity. My dear friends, leadership is all not all about thinking about positions. It is also about stepping up at the right time and making right decisions for the betterment of all. That's what I did back in 2018 by stepping up at the right time and making the right decision, that is by shifting home, by taking different perspectives of my family members. And that is what leadership is all about. My dear friends, I got a lot of satisfaction that I did the right decision, and today my family members are happy. And no doubt, I got democratic style of leadership as my preference. My dear friends, and especially Toastmaster of the day, what's your style of leadership? Over to you. Thank you.
Well, that was a truly wonderful speech, and I truly agree. One decision can really change one's life. Moving on with the theme. So, as we have been thinking, due to this whole pandemic situation, Indian economy will go into recession. But there's the other side of story too. So, due to the falling image of China, India has a great opportunity of becoming the next manufacturing hub. With, as you can see in the slide, more than 1,000 American companies have India have planned to came out of China and came in India to manufacture goods. This means more employment and prosperity to the general public of India. Also, when after the post pandemic situation, most of the developed nations might go into recession, but even though the India's growth rate will come down, but it'll still stay positive, and that's something good with respect of India. Now, coming to the third speaker, uh, he is a veteran speaker, and before coming to him, let me call upon his evaluator, Toastmaster Rupesh, to speak out his objectives. Over to you, Toastmaster Rupesh.
Hi, very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, speaker is presenting the Project 8 from CC Manual, and objective of the speech is to select visual ads that are appropriate for your message and the audience. Use visual ads correctly with the ease and confidence. Timer, please note, time is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to you.
Well, when I asked this speaker about his perspective on 2020, he says that this year has been a year of massive change. I truly agree to him. This year has changed many things in different aspects of our life. So without any further ado, let's call upon Toastmaster Vinay Bamalwa, Movies Then and Now. Movies Then and Now, Toastmaster Vinay Bamalwa. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Today, I'm going to talk about our savior in the times of Corona. Times when we are feeling low, and our companion, we are out with friends over popcorn. I'm going to talk about movies then and now. Well, be it movies like Kala Pathar or Coolie in the late 80s, or movies in the recent times like Three Idiots and Yuri. Movies have always been the mirror of the society. It has reflected the events which have shaped the society, as well as events which are touching our and souls even today. Let's compare the two main eras, which is the last 10 years. The in movies which are cult movies, say Die Hard or Star Wars, in movies, the pace of the plot has generally been a little bit slower, been on character development, and the have been simpler. What does that mean? The audience can enjoy their popcorns. But nowadays, the movies are really fast-paced. The character development is not so much, and the plot is a little bit complex, which means that if you look down to have your popcorn, you might have missed a very, very important moment in the movie. Coming to the content quality in terms of language and visuals, the visual effects were obviously far simpler because of the technological limitation, according to the neweconomy.com. But the movies themselves were quite memorable. There was Jaws, there was Indiana Jones, Star Wars, to name a few of the very good movies and popular movies in Hollywood. In Bollywood, we use far fewer slangs. The dialogues were legendary. You know, who can forget the famous dialogue, "Mujhe ho to nathulal jaisi varna na ho." If one has to have a mustache, it has to be like Nathulal and no one else. The humor was quite family friendly and situational. It wasn't forced. But today, unfortunately, there have been innumerable songs objectifying women. I don't think there's any pictures needed here. More and more slangs and innuendos are used. The humor feels a bit forced. It's not natural. And it's not always very family friendly, according to HindustanTimes.com. Back then, content was the main driver. Creativity was all around, and only 1/4 of the US movies were actually sequels. We had cult movies and gut-wrenching movies like E.T., Tron, Top Gun, to name a few. Some of those movies have dialogues which are famous even till today. In Bollywood, we had almost no sequels. And the movies were very, very creative and original. Golmaal, Diwar, and Sholay and Dawn have dialogues which are at the tips of even the young generation today. But now, box office success is more important than content, where more than half of the US summer movies are actually sequels. They want time and tested formulas to make money. In fact, George Lucas's interview, which is available on youtube.com, quite famously says that he has stopped making movies because he cannot make the movie that he wants to make. He has to make the movies which the producer says will make money. Which brings us to my main point. Are we going over quantity instead of quality? If you look at this graph, the number of movies which have been released in US cinemas between the 80s and the last 10 years has almost increased by 7 to 8 times. If one movie was released in the 1980s, today 8 movies are released. Well, it's a very interesting stage where are we going in a full circle? Are we going back to the way things were, but in a much better way? There is much more time for character development in today's movies and shows. We are seeing lots of shows being pumped in, lots of original content, and there's more of everything. humor, dark humor, comedy, detective stories, more of everything for almost everyone, for kids, for adults, for women, for men, for families, for couples. We are getting more and more. Now, I don't know where this is all going to lead us to, but one thing is for sure. Movies are going to capture our attention for generations to come. And they are going to be our companion when we are low, when we are with our favorite friends, when we are with family, and even in troubling times like the coronavirus lockdowns or semi-lockdowns or semi-unlocks. What's your favorite movie, Madam Toastmaster? Over to you.
Well, that was a really wonderful speech and really made me nostalgic seeing the posters of different movies. Now, moving on. Since 2020 has been full of so many unexpected events, and even though we are able to find something good in this, the same is for the next session of the Toastmasters, that is the table topic session. In this session, you will be given a random topic and you have to speak on the topic for 1 to 2 minutes. So now, without any further ado, let's call upon the table topic master for today, Toastmaster Mayank Motta. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sumit, the Toastmaster of the day for the evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the most challenging session of a Toastmasters meeting where we take this virtual podium and test ourselves to face the reality of where we actually stand and how much we need to improve. Now, this session, I believe, is a must participate for everyone, especially Toastmasters, because if we, I believe, as public speakers are not able to speak on any random topic for 1 to 2 minutes impromptu, then are we really making our time and effort by attending this meeting worth it? I just want you all to ponder about it. Now, today, I have tried to keep this table topic session a little interesting, and here's how it's going to go. Just think about the last time when you were in a dilemma. You had to choose which road to travel, the easiest one, or should I choose the one which is traveled by only a few? You had to fight in your head with yourself and pick a side when you don't even know what the consequences could be. Now, for most of us, these conflicts run in our brain and we don't generally talk it out with people to sort things. But today, as the table topics master, I am going to put you in a position where you will have to take us through a journey of your mind of resolving such conflicts in front of everyone. So I will give you a dilemma, two contrasting opinions, and you will have to choose a side and explain us why. Now, it's going to be easy because this is what we actually do every time of the day. We choose between two things and then move ahead with something. But today, the purpose of this session is to improve on conflict resolution by sharing the same with people around, especially our members and guests. Now, the format of topic that I'll be saying would be in such way. The dilemma is to do X or Y. The dilemma is to do X or Y. Now, I call it personally, debate yourself at table topics at KTN. Now, the rules for this table topic session are as follows. Number one, both the members and the guests are welcome to participate in this table topic session. So I would request the guests also to raise their hand as I call for volunteering. The second, the time limit is 1 to 2 minutes with a grace period of 30 seconds only on the upper side. So there's no grace period on the lower side. Your qualification criteria starts at 1 minute and goes up to 2 minutes, 30 seconds. I'll repeat the topic only once. So in totality, you'll be able to hear the topic just twice. Guests have the leisure of changing the topic once if they find it difficult. Unfortunately, the members cannot. And I request all of you to avoid prompting from the audience by unmuting yourself, or please do not pass on any comments on the Zoom chat while the speaker is speaking on this virtual podium. So I feel now that the room is set and we are all set with the rule and the concept of this table topic. So can we have the first set of volunteers from this house? Deorshi, I would request you to please take over this volunteering session because I see a lot of raise of hands. So if our parliamentarian Deorshi could help me, otherwise I can choose myself.
Toastmaster Achyut.
Toastmaster Achyut, right. All right. So Toastmaster Achyut, The dilemma is to take the plunge or stay in the safe zone. The dilemma is to take the plunge or stay in the safe zone. Toastmaster Achyut.
Thank you, Table Topics Master. Take the plunge or stay in the safe zone. This is something which crosses my mind every time I have to take a decision which is new to me. And I'm sure this crosses all of our minds. Think about it. Should I give my next speech? Should I raise my hand when the Table Topics Master is saying a topic? Should I even sign up for Toastmasters? Or no, I think Friday evenings are much better off, right? Just chilling with friends, watching movies, doing things you're more comfortable at. And this is all okay. But there is an important point. We need to understand the consequences of both. Taking the plunge is something which is often something which we might not know the consequences of. Like, we are expected to anticipate difficulties, and the good part is that we know we're only going to grow when we take that plunge. But if we stay where we're comfortable, we know we're not going to grow. Now, contextualizing this to something which I am pursuing today is, how can I learn after I'm done with my formal education? I'm working with my family, and I'm trying to figure what to do at work. There is no guide to navigating in this scenario. But when I'm trying to push myself on the path of self-improvement, working with my parents who are running a business which is over 35 years old, and also trying to figure out how to get this up to the modern times, this is where I take the plunge. And every day when I sign up or when I put my foot forward in activities which are new or uncomfortable, this is where I'm challenging myself. And usually this is the side I go with. Take the plunge if you know that you want to endure the effort for something which is probably going to be a better outcome. And the best part is you succeed in every way, because either you succeed with tangible successes or you figure out one more way which doesn't work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Achyut. That was a wonderful take on the topic, especially the part that either it becomes a tangible success with a lot of successes coming way forward, or you actually learn a way how to not do things. So that was a wonderful take. Moving on to the next volunteering session. So I have already a few people who wants to volunteer, and they have texted me personally. So I'm going to take this particular opportunity to call up next Toastmaster Sonu. So Toastmaster Sonu, your topic for the day is: the dilemma is to fight it out or seek for peace. Toastmaster Sonu, the dilemma is to fight it out or seek for peace.
Very good evening, all of you. And who better example can be this other than me? Because I'm the one who had to fight for everything. I belong to a very conservative Marwari family, and in my times, females were not given the liberty to do job, to study, or to take activities, part in different activities. So I believe that I am a very peace-loving person. And I used to be a peace-loving person. But things when that peace always is not required, because at certain times you have to fight for your rights. And what can be the good example of this better than our Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna himself have told Arjun that for your right you have to fight. And I think I'm not Arjun, but yes, I fought for my right. And for everything, I had to snatch it. I don't repent, because after all, this became a role model or example for others. So I would suggest everyone, we love peace, but peace at times, it cannot be associated with cowardice, because there's a very little and a very fragile difference between peace and cowardice. At times we think, let things go, but that cannot be symbolic of peace, because to fight for your right is your birthright. If we would have thought this, our leaders, national leaders would have thought this, we would not have got our freedom. So what better example can be rather than our national leaders, Lord Krishna and Sonu Shrimali, myself. What do you say? Table topic master of the day.
Can we have a round of applause for Toastmaster Sonu, everyone, virtually and via on screen? Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sinu. I loved your take on the topic, especially when you spoke that there's a fine line between peace and cowardness, which is my takeaway from your entire topic. Now, moving on to the third set of topic that I have. So, can we have guest Anusha Khurana, if we can have her audio check and video check? Yeah. Anusha, can you say something, because I feel your video is getting hung?
Want me to do an audio check too?
Yes, because your audio is lagging a little bit. Can we do an audio check once?
Audio check 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, perfect. I think she's audible to everyone. Great. So, guest Anusha, the dilemma is, should I aim for perfection or do it within the time? The dilemma is, should I aim for perfection or do it within the time, guest Anusha?
Well, these kind of topics are very easy to navigate. You take the middle path, but then that's not fair to the question. So should I aim for perfection or should I finish it within time? It's obviously the latter. Logically, you've not left me much choice, Mayank, because it's obvious that I have a task to complete. Now, if I have a task to complete and it is of the type which is within my hands, for which I have no deadline, you would not have told me to finish it. So I go for the side that I'd like to finish it within the time. Let me take a very simple example. I have to write a story for the Times of India contest. I can start writing a fabulous story which goes from here to eternity, but that would never finish. What if I decided to finish it within a given span of time? I would have some output and I would be able to participate in the contest. And this is exactly what has happened. There are times where you need to fit your job within a particular time limit because you have a goal. The dilemma would have been great had it been that you have the ability. Ed?
Toastmaster Anusha, I'd like to interfere that your audio is getting cut because you are muting your mic in between.
I've unmuted. So if I had a choice to aim for perfection, I would aim for perfection. But having been given the simplest topic of all, to have to finish a job within a particular time, I aim to finish the job to the best of my ability. And that at times could near perfection. It might not be the ultimate in quality, but it could veer towards perfection. That's what I think on the topic, Mayank. Back to you.
Can we have a round of applause for Toastmaster Anusha virtually? Two things that I would like to mention here is, first of all, thank you, Toastmaster guest Anusha, for reminding my audience that you are supposed to do justice to the topic by choosing one side and not take the middle way out. And also, if I can request our VP membership, can we do a profiling of our guests so that I understand whom to give the easy topic and whom to give the tough ones? Because I feel guest Anusha did a fantastic job by her take on the topic. Moving on to the next one. So can we have a raise of hand? Someone who is not doing any role play today, not speeches, no evaluation. I can see DTM Archita Tiwari. All right. So the next one is DTM Archita.
Hi. Yep.
DTM Archita, the dilemma is to take it slow or take the fifth gear. The dilemma is to take it slow or take the fifth gear. DTM Archita Tiwari.
Life is a race, they say. You have to ace, they say. Taking a decision is my task. But is it going to be easy? Is a question I ask. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Every single day we wake up with wanting to know, should you really push yourself and go forward the way life pushes you? Or should you take your time, take a deep breath and take it slow? As for me, every single day, I believe in taking things slow. The problem with me is when I take the fifth gear, a lot of times it happens that there is way too much effort, very little time to think or contemplate, and therefore I end up taking the wrong decisions. So I have learned, realized over a period of time that when I take it slow, when I go according to my own speed, which may be a little slower than light's speed, I take the right decisions for myself. I'll give you a simple example. I took it in the fifth gear, rushed forward after scoring a 94% in my 12, unfortunately, and moved forward with CA, the Chartered Accountancy course, which actually means come again and appear for your exams. And in that fifth gear, I landed up at a place where I was lost. I had no idea what should I be doing ahead because I hate this auditing job. I don't want to go forward with finance. It sounds so boring. And that's when my real calling struck me. I took my time to decide what is it that I should do next. I took it slow. And that's when I found my calling, my passion, that is public speaking. Friends, I don't know what works for you. Tinder, the fast dating app that is really taking over the world, or old school romance like the 80s and the 90s. But if you ask me, I'm still going to go ahead with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts than Anne Hathaway. And that's just how I look at it. Take it slow, take your time, because everything that takes time is always worth the wait. Over to you.
Can we have a virtual round of applause for Toastmaster Archita? DTM Archita, my bad. And believe me, audience, I did not tell her about the topic before. I don't know how she immediately came up with those 4-liners in the beginning. So, well, good job there, DTM Archita. Moving on to the next one. I have 4-5 requests on my chat box, and I am choosing the one who is probably fit for the next topic. So, can we have Toastmaster Kushal? Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Yes. Toastmaster Kushal, the dilemma is, should I help myself or help him out first? The dilemma is, should I help myself or help him out first? Toastmaster Kushal.
A baby takes almost 2 years to stand on its feet. I'm sorry, I think it's about a year. I don't have kids, so I have no experience in that matter. Is the law of nature? You first feed yourself, you fill your belly first, and your families. And after that, only after that, if you've satisfied your need and also your greed, after that, you try and help others. In my case, however, after my engineering, I thought I'll help others first. Who's going to go into a corporate job? I'll join an NGO. And after that, I'll open an NGO on my own. However, in trying to help the others first, I axe my own leg. And I'm finding it extremely hard to help myself by trying to speak anything more. So over to you, table topic master.
Can we have a virtual round of applause for Toastmaster Kushal for his effort? Thank you, Toastmaster Kushal. I love the way that you use a personal experience in telling us what your take on the topic is. And I feel every table topics participant should do that. Tell the audience what you personally feel about the topic and why are you choosing the same. Moving on, we have 2 more topics to go. So I have my 2 set of people ready. So I want, first of all, Toastmaster Rupesh, So, Toastmaster Rupesh, the dilemma is, should I follow the crowd or try something new? The dilemma is, should I follow the crowd or try something new? Toastmaster Rupesh.
Thank you, Table Topic Master. I believe it's not dilemma for me. Given the chance, I will definitely go for new. You don't know. If you go by the audience, go by the whole lot, they might be the experts. But experts are not right every time. If you believe on experts or crowd, just think about the Japan after Second World War. But after 3 decades, Americans are facing problem in the market. Even think about the Bajantri Pal. She never thought of she will climb the mountain Everest. A lot of people told her, you will not able to do being a girl. But she believed on herself, took the challenge. She thought something new, claimed the Mount Everest, and she became the first lady in India who claimed the Everest. Thing is, if you want to do something, be creative. Take the view of crowd. No harm on this, but you need to take your stake. You need to think something innovative. Because one proverb I can remember, मंजिल पाने के लिए चलना बहुत जरूरी है. और you can say आंधियों में भी जैसे चिराग जला करते हैं, ऐसे ही हौसला हिम्मत हम भी रखा करते हैं. मंजिलों दूर है हमारी मंजिल, चांद तारे तो राहों में मिला करते हैं. That is where you will think new or you will do leader. Thank you very much, Table Topic Master.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rupesh. Can we have a round of applause for him virtually? The one thing that we all look forward to when Toastmaster Rupesh takes the podium is when he delivering the shairi. And after I saw the green or the yellow card, I was actually waiting for it, and he did that. So good job done there, Toastmaster Rupesh, continuing with the trend. So here's the last table topic for the evening. I would request Toastmaster Rishi to unmute himself. Toastmaster Rishi, the dilemma is to make it last or make it fast. The dilemma is to make it last or make it fast. Toastmaster Rishi.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. You can neither make it fast or neither make it last. You have to take the midway. If I am on a journey, for example, if I am taking a ride from airport until Ultatanga, neither I can be too fast or neither I can be too slow. I have to ride from first gear to the 5th gear, and I have to apply brakes on every intervals. If I have the principle of running very fast, then I cannot learn driving at all. I may on that process of my driving, I don't know how many people will come under my wheels. So what I mean to say is, you at every step of life, you have to have different, you need to have different perspectives. First, you need to move a little fast where the situation demands, and you have to be little slow where it demands to be. So all in all, for example, if as I shared the example of driving, yes, and I have been speaking very slowly, but as I have been speaking over a couple of months, my speaking ability has grown faster, and I hope to become more faster in days to come. Thank you. Over to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rishi. Can we have a virtual round of applause for him as well? Loved your presence of mind by actually thinking about what to say and immediately talking about something that you were doing, speaking slow. So that was a wonderful presence of mind shown. Overall, I feel it was a very enthusiastic session. There was an entire set of people volunteering for the topics, and I did not have to fetch for people. So I'm pretty glad that I did my role pretty well as a Table Topics Master today. So thank you so much, everyone, for your volunteering and for the support. Giving the podium back to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Sumit Kumar, who is doing a fantastic job. I cannot see him here. Yes, he's there. Back to you, Toastmaster Sumit, Toastmaster of the day.
Well, thank you, Toastmaster Mayank Mota. That was an extraordinary table topic session. Now, moving on, 2020 has taught us many lessons. It showed how US, despite being a supreme military power, had to surrender itself against a microscopic organism. Years down the line, when we look back, we will cherish even this year too. That's because this year has been a roller coaster ride. With almost 6 months past, this year has provided us learning which will help us in and the whole humanity in becoming better towards health and environment. Before moving to the next session, I would like to something recite in front of all you guys that I have written. In this lockdown, I have found a hidden hobby of writing poems, and so I penned out this one for today's evening. Here it goes. It all started way back in China. Someone had this bad soup and began to test our world's stamina. It has been months since the world is in lockdown, and if you were lucky, you would be in your hometown. I don't know when the last time I went out. All I can say, we have months till our house gives us a bailout. Work from home has now become a culture. Maybe life would have been better if we had stick to the agriculture. Who knew a small microscopic thing can put so many lives on risk? We all are scared and have lost our breath. Earlier, when I used to look at the night sky, it was all black. But now I can see the stars and constellations, and it feels like nature has a comeback. With people behind the doors, animals, fishes, and birds are free to move. Maybe this is the brighter side, and I'm sure on this you can't disapprove. The period, this period had taught us many lessons, and now it is up to us how we learn from them and make our future impressions. I know someday it will end. Till then, stay safe, stay home is what I will recommend. Over to you, General Evaluator.
That was a wonderful poem, and thank you so much, Toastmaster Sumit. First, I would like to call up on stage the evaluator of our first speaker, Toastmaster Keshav Maheshwari, to evaluate Toastmaster Komal Chaudhary. Toastmaster Keshav.
Am I audible? Hello.
You are, but you're not visible.
Oh, okay. Maybe some internet issue. Good evening, everyone, and Toastmaster Komal in particular. We dream to create history. Hello. Good evening, everyone, and Toastmaster Komal in particular. We dream to create history. With this message as the central theme of the presentation, it was a very well organized and well researched speech. Let me start with the commendations part. The spoken language was very clear and easily understood. The vocal variety and gestures were used very effectively. And when you exclaimed, "And suddenly I was attacked," wrote down my dream, eyeballs moving rapidly, and buzzing activity of the brain. It was very well mentioned. You also mentioned some brilliant examples like Larry Page, Auguste Kekule, and how periodic table was discovered. Some unknown facts like a person on an average spends almost 6 years of one's life in dreaming made me as an audience member more intrigued to your presentation. We came to know why are dreams so random and weird. The slide showing image of Go Corona Go was really hilarious. Now coming to the recommendations part, as there are always opportunities for enhancements. First of all, you did not mention the sources that support your research in your speech. Secondly, I felt that a proper eye contact was missing. I know it is hard in these times, but you have to look directly into the camera as much as possible for enhancing the eye contact criteria. In one or two slides, you just went forward very fast and it seemed like you just read the bullet points as it was written in the presentation slide. Overall, it was a very fantastic speech, and maybe we all are motivated to maintain a dream diary and understand the mystery behind those dreams. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Keshav. That was a pretty concise evaluation, and most of the points are covered. It was, as the Toastmaster Keshav said, that you had pretty good hand gestures and body movements even while sitting. But I have one a recommendation, like it's a nitpick, but while you said that August dreamt about benzene and that's how we discovered it, and then you talked about how periodic table was discovered, but you showed that August point, but you did not show that periodic table point in the slide. So if you're talking about like all the points, that should be visible in the slide as well. Now moving forward, I would like to call the evaluator of our next speaker, Toastmaster Vishesh Mehra, for Toastmaster Rishi Pansukha's speech.
Good evening, one and all present here, and to Toastmaster Rishi in particular. I love the way you started with the question, and you kind of encaptured the entire audience. Everyone was hooked with the question, and then you initially went in to your personal story. I have always believed that personal story, a personal touch, is something which encaptures the audience. The audience wants to listen about you. It does not want to listen about somebody else. And you do this on a consistent basis in each and every speech. You get a personal touch, a personal story about yourself. And you even had a very, very appropriate title for your speech, Life 2.0, because with the speech, the title, we could absolutely relate it. And your hand gestures were on point each and every time. You had a part where you said, "Where have I come?" And you, even though we know this is a virtual platform and hand gestures make up the entire body language for the speeches nowadays because we can't move around due to the virtual platform. One thing which you did extremely well is that you explained how you stepped up as a leader, how you made a strategy of telling your parents, of reminding them, making them nostalgic that, look, we had so much fun there. So why are we here in a solitary place? Why can't we go back and enjoy ourselves again? Be happy. That was a point very well done, Toastmaster Rishi. And one thing was brilliant, which was your eye contact. You looked at the screen at all times, which in this environment, it is not an easy task because we are used to the rooms. We are not used to a webcam. Well, Toastmaster Rishi, there are always some things which you can always improve. First was the lack of expression. I thought that voice modulation and expression was missing from your speech. You had great stories, but combined with voice modulation and more of, expressions, like you said that before my mother was in a solitary place, she was alone, but now she has friends around her, she's much more happier. If you use this kind of voice modulation, there will be better impact in your speech and people will enjoy your stories more. Second thing that I would like to say is your camera angle. Your camera angle was just showing till your chest. You could have put it down a little more to show your hand movements much more, which would have made the speech better to look at. And then I thought that you had an introduction missing. You dived straight into the story. So, Master Rishi, you could have spoken about something like how standing up is very important. And the last point I have for you is that you spoke very, very little on your leadership style. You just mentioned it in one particular line, but you did not really speak about it, which is very important. All in all, it was a great speech. Work on these recommendations, and I'm sure speech 2.0 will be much, much better. Back to you, General Evaluator.
you so much, Toastmaster Vishesh. Rishi, I really like the way you put details in your story, the environment of your society, the sounds and everything. And as a recommendation, I have just one recommendation, that you were little weak about your objectives of the speech. Just like Vishesh said that you only spoke about one line, or understanding your leadership style. Perhaps you could have stated more. Like in your speech, you talked about how you convinced your parents to move out to a new house, and how then it impacted in a good way. While I think it was not much about the leadership style. It was just about convincing, and then it turned out to be good. Uh, what like a correct way of talking about leadership style could be how uh, you know how you and your parents as a team uh, work towards a common goal, and then it proved out to be good. That could be a better way to narrate a story. Next, we have Toastmaster Rupesh Singh to evaluate Toastmaster Vinay Bamalwa.
Very good evening, and a special good evening to Binay. Ladies and gentlemen, you all have noticed most effective part of his speech was his visual aids, which quoted the eyes of all audience, I believe. Because I personally felt that it was really well structured. Not only the visual aids, you can see the complete storyline of movies from Kala Pathar to the Yuri. You'd have seen that. And not only it was spoken, well structured from the line by line. When he started narrated the story from the old days, how it was slow, and nowadays how it is fast, and same time nowadays visual effects are very good. It is a fast but effective, knowledgeable, and even he came with a graph which shows quality over quantities, right? That also shows how fast we are moving. He given nowadays in the eight movies are coming. These are the things which says which completely do justice with his speech, in line with his structure of the content. There is a one Japanese proverb which says picture says a lot, and in his speech, I believe that got whole justified, because his presentation itself was a self-explanatory. He was doing adding. Not only he was, even the whole presentation was there. When the text was there, he was not reading. He was explaining that thing. That is the real justice when you are, using any visual ads and you are explaining the things. Not only that, he tried to bring humor on that as well. Everyone, I believe, recall the movie Sar Jaisi Varna Na Ho. But same time, but I believe this is total justice with the whole objective of the speech. But same time, one thing I felt missing is the voice modulation. I'll give same example. When it was told, he told, "Muche ho to nathulal jaisi varna na ho." It could have more effective, like "Muche ho to nathulal jaisi varna na ho." That voice modulation could have attracted the audience more. But again, the speech was totally flawless, total justice. At last, only I'll say about him, जिंदगी का सारा हिसाब बाकी है, पढ़ने को सारा किताब बाकी है. ये स्पीच तो टोस्ट मास्टर की जर्नी में एक पन्ना था, अभी तो पाथवे और सीसी मैनुअल का सारा किताब बाकी है. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rupesh. So, Toastmaster Vinay, what I really liked was that your points that you put in the presentation was pretty concise, and it was well researched. While you talked about movies and now and then very perfectly, but in the conclusion, I would love to hear how it impacts us, because whatever we see around us actually impact us. So movies then was something, and now it change to something, and how is it impacting or shaping our world today? So that was something that we would love to hear about it. And before we move on, I would like to ask our role players to give their report, starting with Grammarian Toastmaster Arban Datta.
Thank you so much, Mr. General Evaluator. Some of the very good usages of grammar today were has slowed drastically, chilling by the ocean of infinity, nagging reality, prepares you for a fight or fright. I really love the wordplay. Epitome of joy, encaptured the audience. Some of the not so good usages of grammar were, though these are just incorrect tense uses. Love to do before should have been loved to do before. Why is 1983 famous for should have been what is 1983 famous for, or why is 1983 famous. There's the other side should have been there's another side. Made me nostalgic should have been made me nostalgic. She'll know able to do should have been she's not able to do. And today's word of the day was shambolic. It was used twice, once by Toastmaster Komal, and another time was it was used by Toastmaster Sumit. And that's all from my side. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Irfan. Next, we have our counter, Toastmaster Shaunak Paul.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests once again. So I'm about to mention my R counter report. And Toastmaster Sumit had multiple and so. Toastmaster Rishi had 3 R's, 2 R's, and 2 likes. Toastmaster Rupesh had 3 R's. Toastmaster Vinay had 3 R's. Toastmaster Keshav had 1 R. And Toastmaster Vishesh had 1 R. Rest of the speakers were fluent. That's all from my report. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shaunak. And now we have Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh as timer.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. So time and tide wait for none, neither for the moon nor for the sun. So all the speakers were on time and are eligible for voting. None of them were shambolic. I am with these numbers in front of me. Back to you, General Evaluator. All of them are eligible for voting.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh. And now bow counter as Toastmaster Kushal.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. It's my first time as the walk counter at KTM, and I'm blown away by the quality of the meeting here. I had many wow moments. With the one which ranks number 3 in my list are the great shairis told by Toastmaster Rupesh. It's my first time hearing shairis on a Toastmaster platform. My number 2 wow moment is the great pictures of olden days Hollywood movies and Bollywood movies shown by Toastmaster Vinay. And it made me extremely nostalgic and glad that I'm born as a millennial. It seems I did not miss much except for Tinder probably. And lastly, my favorite for a moment was the entire table topic speech by DTM Archita Tiwari, especially especially her starting and ending. Her ending, everything that takes time is worth the wait. Will definitely stay, stick in my mind for the rest of my life. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kushal, and everything has a first time. Even and last but not the least, finally we have Toastmaster Devshi Pradhan as the parliamentarian.
Good evening, everyone, once again. So, except for the using of full forms of Toastmaster related terms like distinguished Toastmaster and competent communicator, all other parliamentary norms are followed. Back to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Now I will evaluate table topic speakers. Firstly, we had Toastmaster Achut, whose topic was to take the plunge or to stay in the safe zone. Well, you totally decided to take the plunge. You gave an example and you took the positive. You ended with a positive note that it will always turn out to be good, even though you fail or succeed in whatever you are doing. Like you will learn a lesson or it will be an experience and or you'll succeed. So it was a really good take on the topic. Next we had Toastmaster Sonu, whose topic was to fight it out or seek for peace. And you too had a really good take. You gave multiple examples, one of which was the Bhagavad Gita. And I have one recommendation that you said that you are a Marwadi and you had to fight for things, and over certain other examples which are common, people really love when you speak your own story. So when you said that you are Marwadi and you had to fight for certain things, others would love to hear what you actually fought for and how did it turn out. So whenever you have any personal story to tell, prefer over that, over other examples. Next we had guest Anusha. You two had really good take. Your topic was, should I aim for perfection or do it within time? And you concluded really well. And as a guest, you were really actually well. Next we had Toastmaster Archita. What do I say? You were way too good. You started with a poem and you had really good personal story, and with the conclusion I really have no recommendation for you. Toastmaster Kushal, I'm really sorry I got cut off from the meeting. While you were speaking, I just heard first couple sentence while you were speaking about the toddler learning, and then I got cut off. So I really apologize for that. And Toastmaster Rupesh, your topic was follow the crowd and try something new. And you gave example of Japan, the fight, and a couple other countries, which was good. However, I would recommend that whenever you say out a poem or shari in Hindi, and you relate it with the topic or whatever your message or conclusion that you are trying to say. And if you are not able to translate those, of course, it's a poem, you won't be able to translate word to word. Just try to explain out whatever you said in English, and also try to give conclusion in the end. That's it. And Toastmaster Rishi, make it fast or make it last. Well, I would agree with my that you completely have presence of mind, even though you stuck for once and were thinking what to say, and then you came up with the current scenario that you were in. And my recommendation would be that you went in the middle of the topic. So you were supposed to choose side between make it fast or make it last, but you went for the middle. So that you were not supposed to do. Otherwise, it was really good. And uh, I hope that you will take part again. Now I will evaluate the role players, starting with Toastmaster Anirban and Sergeant at Arms. Anirban, you were just a minute late, which is a pretty good improvement. And you had a really good president introduction, which again, a really good improvement from what I have been hearing over the last many meetings. So you have been improving, which is really good. And now President, distinguished Toastmaster Archita Tiwari. Of course, you are really good. You started with humor. That we should not be positive in these scenarios in today's date. And you started. Then you moved on to important news that we will have only one meeting per week, and then you checked out for the guest. And today, I guess there was nobody in the beginning. So you played your role pretty well, and I have no recommendations for you. Toastmaster Shumit, well, your topic was really good. However, what I would recommend is that as a Toastmaster of the day, what you are supposed to do is take the theme and align it with the flow of the meeting. Okay, a lot of Toastmaster of the day never do this. I notice it every time, but I never said it. So it's not for only you, but everybody who's going to play Toastmaster of the day in future or Master of Ceremonies. As the Toastmaster of the day or Master of Ceremony, your role is to align the theme of the meeting with the flow of the meeting. For example, what you could have done for the prepared speeches is you could have said it like uh, since we have a lot of time in this lockdown, so one could have prepared for the future or things that we have always been trying to do, just like our prepared speeches who are trying to give speeches, and so they make out time for themselves and prepare their speeches, and today they are going to deliver them. Okay, things like that. That's it. And next, Toastmaster Mayank, you played your role very well. You explained the importance of table topic session and then rules, and today you had a different approach towards the session, which I really like, and I have no recommendations for you. That's it from my side, and back to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Shulman.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Well, moving on to the that's it of from the three entire sessions of Toastmaster meeting. Moving on, let's call upon someone who is an inspiration for me and who is very energetic and positive, as said earlier. The president of our club, DTM Archita Tiwari. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Master Sumit. It's truly a pleasure to attend today's meeting. Give me 1 second, please. Yeah, it's truly a pleasure to attend today's meeting. Some wonderful, wonderful speeches, some really, really amazing table topics. Um, I think one thing that all of us will find in today's meeting was the extraordinary participation in table topics. I know KTM stands out as a club whenever we have table topics, because I think it's one of those few clubs in the entire district where there's an actual competition, where there's an actual and I'm not meaning competition with respect to content, with respect to just participating. We have so many people that a table topic master actually has to choose, or actually has to be the villain in some people's book. By villain, I mean people you don't choose. By the way, thank you for choosing me. Otherwise, the consequences would have been dangerous. Jokes aside, I honestly feel that we should really keep this spirit up, and we should make sure that we keep participating. Can everyone switch on their cameras? It's like I'm speaking to a blank screen. We will just have 2 more minutes of the meeting. So it looks really bad. Yeah. Hi, everyone. So all the personal texting can wait for 5 minutes, I'm sure. Uh, I know. It's really, really, some of you guys are really in demand, but bear with us for 2 more minutes, and we're going to make sure that you have all the time for people who are in love with you or love you in general. So wonderful table topics. I think today it was really, really different, and after a very long time I've attended such a session. So thank you so much, Mayank. Honestly, the effort put in was truly commendable. It was very, very well done, although some of the topics, when I first heard it, it was very difficult to not speak what I wanted to speak on, because we have a parliamentarian in the meeting. I am exceptionally jealous of Toastmaster Rishi's topic, which said, should you go fast or should you wait for it to last? Very, very controversial topic. So let us discuss it over a couple of drinks instead of in the meeting. And other than that, thank you, Toastmaster Sonu and guest Anusha, if I may say. If they are here, I can see Sonu definitely, but Anusha, I can only see that she's there. I'm not sure if she's listening to us. Thank you.
Yes, I am.
Okay, you're here. I would
Yeah.
just request both of you to share, that is Sonu and you, to share just a few sentences about how you found our meeting, because I'm not sure if you're coming for the first time, but you guys don't come very regularly. So.
Uh, First, Archana, I will must make it clear that I am almost regular. Today I got the chance to speak on table topic, but I'm regular. I always take interest. Especially, I'm a very big. I like the speaker like you and Mayank Mota, so I make a point to listen to you whenever I get the chance. And yes, I enjoy being come in this club and seeing you people as.
Thank you so much, Sonu. I take all the effort of dressing up in lockdown for people like you. You guys are my only source of motivation to actually take the effort of getting ready. Anusha, can we hear a few words from you?
Well, the highlight of the meeting today was table topics, because that is an essence of India. And I found the topics to have been both some are very self-evident, especially the one which came to me. But overall, I felt it was an interesting experience, and I felt that each one of your role players has put in his or her best, which is really, really commendable, especially the general evaluator. So thank you so much for a lovely meeting, and I hope to be added to the guest list. Thank you.
Absolutely, we will make sure we do that, Anusha. Vandana ji, are you here? I can see your name, but I'm not sure it is you. So if you can come on screen really quickly. Um. Okay.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Yes, it actually is you. Wow.
I am. It
Uh,
is, and I've been like moving up and down, so I didn't want to switch on my camera because I was continuously moving.
no,
But
but we were missing seeing you, so I thought, okay, let's do that. So thank you for joining in. And with that, we come to the end of the meeting. I just have one more announcement to make. The nominations for the post of the executive committee has been sent out. The last day is tomorrow. Everyone, please make sure that anybody who's interested in taking their leadership skills to the next level, please file in your names. And I can say that with experience. I've been here for 7-8 terms now, almost. So I've been here for almost 8 terms, and it feels amazing to be a part of the EC. I'm going to be really sad that there is no post after president. to take over. I will still be there for some time as the IPP. I think our IPP is going to be the saddest because there's no more post for him. He's going to move to the advisors, but it's a brilliant experience being a part of the EC, guys. It's a camaraderie of the next level. It is a place where you have fun, where you take decisions for 40, 45 odd people. And it really means like, you're taking care of a family and at the same time being a leader in its true spirit. So please make sure that you fill in the nomination. The email has been sent by Toastmaster Mayank, who is our IPP, who's also the chair of the nomination committee and will also be our election officer. The elections are most probably scheduled on 18th of this month at 6:30 p.m. I will make sure that a flyer goes out and everybody is informed about it. So please make sure that you send in your nominations, and if there are any questions, feel free to reach out to me or to the nomination officer. With that, I think we've come to the end of the meeting unless someone has something to say.
Yeah, I have. Let me tell you,